controlled the world, then we knew that he'd taken the head off the beast, and he announced it.
Right.
So when we move away from that control, which we're all controlled by money and debt, and we're all a commodity that's being traded under maritime and admiralty law, he wanted to bring us under constitutional law and common law, which actually is above maritime and admiralty law, because both maritime and admiralty law are by consent. So if the people don't consent, they have no power. So when we get into the constitutional law and common law of the land, all of these people in government no longer have any power. And this is where we're moving. But they're putting up one hell of a fight. The first thing that people notice with NESARA is the forgiveness of all debt. So people get very excited about that. Mortgages, student loans, bank loans, anything to do with debt, because the money is corrupt. It's been printed by a group of corrupt people. This is where the Phoenician family is in, and the biggest of those is the Payseur family, who when they were arrested and taken away, their net worth was around 34 quadrillion. And that if you owe money to a bank, if you owe money to let's say JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, it's not to them, it's to the Bank of America, and then it goes to the Federal Reserve, and it goes all the way back to the Payseur family. So they're the people that have controlled the purse strings and have enslaved us to the world of debt. The new system does away with debt. And most people are completely unaware that their birth certificates, this is a long story, but I'll shorten it. You're a commodity and you've been traded all your life. You've been traded for $3, $4, $5 million. Every single person in the world on the stock exchange without your knowledge.
That's right.
So the corruption has been off the scales. So NESARA does away with all of that, and then clears us of our debt.
And I was saying this whole thing is fraud. The Negro Question, Part 6, the 13 Black Colonies. So this is a book that you should get. It's called The Negro Question, Part 6, the 13 Black Colonies. Got that, people? All right, so the original colonies were the 13 colonies set up by the Blacks. All right, now, where am I? Okay, I want to go See if I can read this. Oh, it might be over here. Okay. So we were sent yesterday this whole thing about this Pacer family, and I was saying this whole thing is fraud, as this family owns supposedly every single business and all the railroads, right? It says here the Pacer French royal family in the United States. I hope you guys can see this. Of the Virginia Company. Hello, society members. This was May 17, 2014. National status, African American couple. Oh, this is something else that they're reading. Okay. Hello, society members. Please remember this one major issue. There's a huge difference by and between the term the United States and one of these United States. You guys got that? Remember we were saying there are several different corporations, right? So there's one United States, which is capital U and a capital S for states, small letters after that. And this one is one of these United States. Same spelling, but it has one of these in front of it. If you can see the difference, you are free. If not, you may never be free again. Please read on. This is some of North America's history. Many do not know about Alex Christopher uncovered this part of history, and we found it on the website. Okay. The Pacer French royal family. The Pacer French royal family. The Pacer French royal family in the United States of Virginia Company. The Pacer French royal family in the United States of the Virginia Company. So wait a second. Are you saying they're really a company, or are you saying that they're a family? And are they from France? This is telling me three different things. You guys know what I'm saying, right? All right. The Pacer family in the United States is a secret descendant of the French monarchy. Daniel Pacer, also known as Crown Prince Louis, who was Queen Marie Antoinette's son. Daniel Pacer, Crown Prince Louis, and Louis XV11 of France, was smuggled out of France to North Carolina in the United States after his mother was executed. The Pacers have gone to extreme lengths to corrupt the government, such as courthouse records. They have hidden the births of many of the descendants and have covered over the extreme secrecy of their monetary holdings. This reminds me of the movie Da Vinci Code, when they went down in that church, and the agent, who I won't even say his name at this point because he was so corrupted, found all of those hidden. It was like the genealogy, the bloodline that was kept secret. They have been so powerful that they could hide their wealth and power and use satanic families as proxies. Like, you know what I found out recently? A lot of those agents doing business, actors, had owned a lot of these so-called islands, like these little islands around the world, right? The question begs, when they own all these islands, what were they doing over there? That was the question. To get free power or energy. Is this one of the charges using this law? You son of a gun. Donald Trump, get those people out of there now. Free all the judges this night. Because it looks like they're using this crap on the people, right? And nobody even knew this stuff existed. We didn't know about this monopoly, which is unfair business practices. It's unfair business practices. It's unfair business practices. To the heirs, go and set them free this night. All right. Thank you in advance for your speedy response to that matter by Noble Honorable Angelina D. Alpha El Romanite Tribe Chief, American Indian, Aloha Moorish American National. You see, people, what they do, right? They tell you you're being charged for one thing. Then they have something else on the record. And unless you've done the research and can study out the laws thoroughly or have access to the laws, because remember, a lot of us don't even have a law book. right? It's only by the grace of God and the ancestors and the angels sitting beside me that they've been in my ear telling me what's going down as I'm doing this research, right? So they have these people in there for all kinds of crap. We did not know that agriculture and all of that, we were listed as agriculture, and they put liens on all of us and did all this shit, and then put insurances on all the so-called military and the agents doing business, police and all the people, right? So there's collateral damage. Collateral damage. It's collateral damage. So they're profiting. When that movie International was saying that the banks don't make profit from the debts that they sell, they make profits from the collateral damage. It's collateral damage, people. Okay? There's an insurance taken out in all these instances that these agents doing business as heads are collecting on, right? That's why it doesn't matter to them whatever goes down, because the truth is they're in the background collecting on all this crap. They're trading those GSA bonds without our knowledge in that. We have created our new GSA bonds in that. And so now all that we've served stands on the record as law, truth, fact, unrebutted. Hence, the NESARA Act has to be implemented now in that, for all, because it's all law. It's all law. Once it's out there in the public record, they can't deny it, you see? And so Mother Nature kicks in, especially those of us in our proper person in that. We know how powerful that is. And because we've seen it, we've seen the deaths of those that have gone against us. We've seen how Mother Nature have risen up for us. You see what I'm saying? That's why you do the GSA bonds. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Serve them, people. Serve them. Because we were out here doing just affidavits, right? And we weren't getting any kind of responses until we had to go do more research on this GSA bond stuff that they had served on us prior without our knowledge or consent, right? So we were trying our best to avoid, because there's a saying in our culture, it says long pass draws sweat, short pass draws blood. So we were taking the long pass. We knew it was tiring. We knew it was taking a lot of energy out of us, but we're taking that road to get remedy, right? And so this stuff had been implemented and put up there for us to use, and we sent it off to them and served it to them too. So now that stands, and now they have to deal with the ramifications of that energy. You see what I'm saying? Because everything is commerce. Everything is energy. As we are the creditors, right? Pazer owned the Lancaster Manufacturing Company, which controlled the production of all wood products. This is another thing that blows my mind. How can you control the production of all wood products, such as railroad ties, railroad cars, service poles, furniture, paper, etc.? You guys get that? This is where... Oh, Zeller, you're back. Is this Zeller's? Hold on. This is where the railroad land grants come in with such names as Boise Cascade, Weyerhaeuser, Crown, Zellerbach. I'm saying, is Zellerbach short, or is Zeller's short for Zellerbach? Mead, Regency companies using the railroad land leased to them only from Pazer to product trees for wood products. These companies do not own the land. They operate under leases. They do not have the right to sell railroad or timberland that they use. These companies do not own the land. They operate under leases. They do not have the right to sell railroad or timberland that they use. They do not own the land, nor the companies. Mr. Pazer also owns a company by the name of Lancaster Cotton Oil. This company started the manufacture of fertilizer. Well, first of all, Mr. Pazer doesn't own the land either. Is that right? Is that what you're saying, ancestors? They don't own it either. So they don't have the right to any of, oh my God, they don't have the right to any of this stuff, you guys. That's the fraud. They came over from France, claimed all this stuff, right? Set up all these companies or whatever, had these companies set up with this 99-year lease, but they don't own the land either. They're a fraud. Oh my God. The heirs have claimed the land. Noble Gerelli was given the land titles to our lands here globally when he visited Cuba back in 1924, according to our elders explaining that to us. He was given some hush money and stuff. He didn't take it. He put everything in trust for us, right? Those of us who are the original heirs, the old blood type heirs to this land on the Americas as American Indians, Moorish American nationals. And don't ask me nothing about being an American Indian. I've already explained it to you guys in these videos. Go back to our older videos as Harvard had changed the name from Moor to Indian. Okay? And then you know about the Harvard and the university crap corruption that a lot of these entities, these Nazi communists, was changing the people's stuff. Okay? That's how we went from Moors to Moorish. All right? That's how Martin Luther King was able to make the 1968 Indian Civil Rights Act for us to use as we're tax exempt, tax immune. AA 222141. All right? And that's why they called us West Indians. And what we were saying was, we're West to where? Right? America. Also known as Morocco, Maghreb, the North Gate, Indian country. Turtle Island, Timbuktu, same thing. So this Mr. Pazer's companies, they don't own shit. So they can't claim it. And that's how the Nasera Act was set up for us, the people, the true people on the land. All right. Leroy Springs was appointed president of all Mr. Pazer's companies to oversee them. He was also Mr. Pazer's attorney and a trustee for his affairs. He was trusted with all kinds of important documents, affidavits, and secrets as to who the true owners were of these companies. Us people. I bet you any money. It's us, man. It's the heirs. That's the secret. The big friggin' Holy Grail is us. Okay, that was in the movie The Da Vinci Code. We're the Holy Grail, the salt of the earth. Remember that it was stated earlier that the Northerners, that's why all these wars were about. It was a state land theft. Would these companies set up this stiff as a deep state, set up these corporations as a deep state, collecting on it that they're supposed to pay a tribute to us? With these fake monarchs all over the goddamn place who still had to pay tribute to us because they weren't the original monarchs, eh? They weren't the original queens and kings. That's why they say history and law goes hand in hand, people. You must know where you're coming from to know where you're going, right? Now, as to who the true owners were of these companies, remember that it was stated earlier that the Northerners couldn't get the Southern people to work for them. So Northerners would appoint the old ex-Confederate officers to run the companies owned by Yankees after the Civil War. All right. This reminds me of the movie Django, when Leonardo DiCaprio was running the plantation for his father, who was Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson pretended like he was a slave, right? But the truth is he was Leonardo DiCaprio's father. It's supposedly went in the movie, right? So he would represent like the ex-Confederate, Leonardo DiCaprio would represent the ex-Confederate officers that were running the companies owned by the Yankees after, and owned by which Yankees after this? Who was the Yankees? After this, they didn't own them. They're using fraudulent conveyance of language in this document, people. Unless you understand what an owner is, the Yankees can't be owners. Who are the Yankees? Are they us? No. After the Civil War and all the confiscations, they stole the people's stuff, people. That is how Leroy Springs got involved with the Lancaster Cotton Mill. Lancaster, cast her land. It's a spell, people. It's a spell. This whole thing, you're reading it, it's a spell to confuse the mind. Guys, wake the hell up, man. And the other companies, he was a manager, not an owner. They were all managers and not owners. Okay? That's what this is really about. This whole goddamn thing is fraudulent conveyance of language. Go now, Donald Trump, and send it back to the people here. Pissing me off reading this. This is the second time I'm reading this, and the first time I read it, I didn't get it fully as I'm getting it now. See how this Sears, Roebuck and Company, miscellaneous companies, that's all the other companies around the globe. Because why? These so-called agents doing business as prime ministers forfeited their heirship status when they became what? When they became what, people? They joined as what? Freemasons, right? Deputy Knights Templars, working as Jesuits. Jesuits for the where? Popes of Rome. They forfeited their heirship status if they had any, because more than likely they didn't have any in the first place. They were probably children of the Rockefellers and Hitler. Okay? And so they didn't have an inheritance, right? Became prime ministers through these so-called fraud skull and bones universities, right? To deceive the people on the planet globally, right? To set up this 2030 and this current pandemic on the people, from Ebola to SARS to you name it, with these fake fraud poison vaccines and this corrupted stuff that they've been doing to us since the beginning of time and stuff, not realizing that we're angels and gods and queens and kings and magicians. And so whatever we do, we just fling it back to them. Fling it back to them. Fling it, so they have to deal with it because they can't even come out in the sun. Look at them, good people. I was looking at some of the pictures of some of these agents here, and I can't tell if they're male or female. I can't tell, you know. I can't tell by looking at the picture if they're male or female. That's what I was saying. Fauci looks like a woman to me, and his wife looks like the man. Trudeau looks like a man to me, because I remember that I was reading that Trudeau, his father, who our people love like cook food, had 3 boys. So where does Justine come from? It's Justine, not Justin. Anyways, you guys, like, share, subscribe. Remember to give these videos a thumbs up. Remember to support us here. Go to PayPal at themelays@gmail.com, because I'm going to talk until I get really pissed off and mad. My spirit is, when I decipher shit and I realize it and I don't see it coming to fruition the way that the gods intended it, my spirit gets really cross and tear up everything. So I try to stay calm. Stay calm, people, because it's really pissing me off, especially when I see my people subjected to stuff and they don't even understand that this is what's really going on, man. That they couldn't put up electricity. So this solar stuff that they have going, that means that they could easily go in and charge people for that solar stuff too, eh? You see what I'm saying? Charge people for something they don't even know. Put them in debtor's prison that doesn't even exist. Go and set them free, Donald Trump, this night. You know what I'm saying to you, right? All right. Support us here, you guys. Go to PayPal at themelays@gmail.com. Remember to get the GSA bonds and the 1099 OID, because that's being traded, and then you can collect on the profits from those bonds. That's what I'm saying. All right? Those are bonds being traded. So you collect on the first set of bonds, and then you collect on the second set of bonds, which is known as damages. All right? Mark my words. All the stuff that I'm saying in this channel has manifested and it will come to fruition. We will all live to see the glory of God. All right? Todo no kota kaina na katakojke no no ko ina na ka nina na kachko da kaina no no kita right ki no no kita ra hina na kaino nena ka I no o ita kai nana na kata kai chiko ina na ka nina na katakore ta karai ki nena na katakojke na kata nana na ka ina na katakoj. And Donald Trump, go and remove those agents from the GSA Bonds office and those agents doing business as administrators and fake judges and fake people in those so-called buildings doing business as courthouses. Go and remove them this night and return those buildings back to the heirs, right? Because those buildings were sacred. They're on sacred land. How those buildings are designed, right? Our queen, I want to say Valeria, okay, is explaining to us those lands, those geometric lands that they claim they set up as ships, they're actually on some sacred geometry. Okay? Where the agent doing business as judge sits, where the defendant sits, where the plaintiff sits, it's a geometric, it's a ancient, powerful, that's why those cities have so much energy. They're energy force fields. All those cities that are set up around the globe, they're energy force fields, right? Anyways, go and, set the house back in order now and do as instructed here. Thank you.
To ensure that that happened. And that's exactly what happened here. Everywhere you go on Twitter, on any social media platform, at least every liberal social media platform, find out how you can register to vote, register to vote, register to vote, while simultaneously suppressing anything that comes from independent news sources or smaller, non-mainstream conservative outlets. Even Fox News isn't prioritized. They prioritize The Guardian above conservative media in the US. Think about that. Whenever you're searching anything, you always get The Guardian. They've altered search results. They've made it so that the low information, more apolitical voter is uninformed or is misinformed, while simultaneously screaming about misinformation coming from the president and the right side of politics. A stated mission of swinging votes, and they've successfully done it. Based on exit polling data from the 2020 election, Joe Biden won independents. And not only that, but the majority, or one of the biggest reasons for voting for Joe Biden, was a protest vote against the current president. The constant orange man bad all day long news media is the real problem. I mean, just think about how this election played out, pushing for mass early voting, getting millions and millions and millions of votes out before the last debate, before the massive scandal that dropped involving Joe Biden, with an insane spike in Google of "can I change my vote?", while at the same time pushing phony information, illegally obtained information about Donald Trump and his taxes, claiming that he only paid $750 in taxes in 2016 or 2017. In what universe does that ever make sense? It doesn't. Saying that he's $400 million in debt. It's a national security risk. Is he in debt to Deutsche Bank? Pushing Looney Tune theories once again. A real estate businessman in debt. No S, Sherlock. You don't pay for properties with cash. You finance them. You use your money, make money with your money in the meantime to hedge against inflation and pay off your properties over a set period of time. It's called a mortgage. They tried impeaching him over some phony narrative stating that he blackmailed Ukraine, threatening aid to get dirt on Joe Biden. Ironically enough, he didn't do that, and they were trying to investigate what Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden were doing in Ukraine in the first place, the real national security threat. Fast forward to 1 week out from the election, or about a week and a half, the Biden email scandal drops, and our overlords in Silicon Valley control what we can and can't speak about, once again skewing in the direction of the Democrats. Anything goes, hacked information, phony narratives, Russian disinformation in the Steele dossier, and other stories and other other scandals, all targeting towards the president, are permissible. A provably real scandal involving Joe Biden and his family with a laptop that was found can't have that. A total and clear, utter double standard. And the people go with it. 75 million Americans voting for Joe Biden. Millions of Americans willing to look the other way, to step all over American values and American freedom because of one very simple concept: Orange man bad. Or at least, that's what they've been led to believe, when that could not be further from the truth. Orange man good. A man with an impeccable foreign policy track record, who pulled the troops home, stopped the endless war racket, fought for freedom of speech and freedom of expression for dissenting viewpoints on the internet, fought for American patriotism and against academic liberalism, which seeks to destroy the entire notion of Western civilization, corrupting the minds of our kids, which is leading to what we're seeing on the streets of Portland. A group which the Democrats and the media have befriended, but a group which will also backstab the Democrats and the media at the first opportunity to do so. Donald Trump, a man who was never called racist ever in his life, but the moment he had political ambitions, he was called every name in the book for 40 years straight. In fact, they're still doing it. Joy Reid is probably on MSNBC as you're watching this video saying exactly that. But he must be an awfully terrible racist to usher in the lowest black unemployment rate, fund black education for 10 years straight, police reform, $500 billion invested in black businesses, opportunity zones. They call him a fascist when he's the only man who has stood by the Constitution wholeheartedly and appointing constitutional scholars to the Supreme Court who would interpret the law rather than mold the law around their activism. What they tell you and what he is could not be further from the truth. And once again, the Democrats and the powers that be, the establishment, who are a mere wing of the Democratic Empire, have sunk the fangs of propaganda into the necks of low information voters everywhere. That is the true election interference. That is the true disinformation campaign. And that was the biggest factor in what we're seeing in the 2020 election. But that is also what I got for you guys on this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then subscribe, hit the
Massive election fraud. You've all been scammed. The whole thing scammed. The whole thing is projection poll. The whole thing is a projection poll given to entire mainstream media by one company working for the Gates Foundation. Edison Research. This is the biggest election scandal and mega fraud against the American public ever perpetrated. The polling company who has sole contract frauded the data to send to the MSM so that Trump could not call the election win, and you thought Biden won, so the polls close. Then close the polls and races. People think Joe Biden won. Candidates concede defeats that never happen because they think they lost. Voters don't go to vote because they think the races are over and are disenfranchised. Swinging races, total criminal treason and fraud. And who is behind it? Gates Foundation, Facebook, Google, Apple, Spotify, and globalist organizations that hate Trump and are all under criminal investigation by the Trump administration. They have rigged the election, colluding just like banning his posts and banning conservatives. Edison Research has a sole contract to gather exit polling and to forecast makeup numbers for the votes, and have done this for 16 years, at least to give the MSM to them to then lie to your face on the TV, and the whole thing is rigged, frauded. You're living a lie sold to you. He called Edison Research to find out who the owners were. Voicemail, no answer. No such persons are listed on the website. Big criminal tech who is being investigated in an antitrust against the public is doing the biggest antitrust in history, lying, election meddling you. This is beyond federal crime. This is a direct treason. This is direct and total election meddling to influence every last voter and even the candidates. This is election rigging on a scale never seen in American history. The MSM complicit in lying and hiding the truth from you. This is the biggest story I've ever seen in years, bigger than the pandemic. The American elections rigged completely. The entire news feed data systems reporting on who is winning, fake numbers told to all, and pretended they are real. Millions of votes ahead per state hiding. This is the mega story of 2020. They rigged the election, lying to everyone's face, rigged, frauded, lied about all the election data. They even called the entire states based on this frauded data hours early. California, Oregon, Washington, based on total lies from the crime racket. There must be widespread criminal investigations and interrogations immediately into everyone in this company and all those who participated in hiring them, and at every one of the MSM companies who dealt with them and the data streams to get full transcripts and statements of his work. CBS says the numbers you are told by MSM are not real. They are supposed to be from the countries, but they lied to your face. They are 100% frauded and off by millions, claiming Joe Biden won when Trump was way ahead. They did this to fake a look-alike election. This election is close. There's no evidence that any exit polling was ever conducted, and it was not an entire fabrication. They certainly did not pull the data from the counties, as counties are completely different from what they're reporting. They did not report that they've done exit polls. This is likely a complete and total fabrication made up to make it look like Biden won. Fool everyone so they don't look into and stick frauded extra ballots into make it up. Biden said they have the most complex voter fraud organization ever built. Some states, like Wisconsin, stated it can take them weeks to fully count all their data from counties reporting, but the MSM has already added over 1 million extra votes magically from nowhere that don't even exist. Oh, that don't even exist yet. They lied to you and you thought it was real data. It's a crime. It was a sting. It was all a sting. The ballots were watermarked, and this man appointed by Trump helped pull it off. Watch the water. Watch the lawsuits and the fake ballots tossed. This agency was founded after the 2018 midterms. Back to November 4th, 2020, back to 8KUN, thread 14646, previous, just in. Instead of delaying releasing results until tomorrow, Nevada officials will release More results later today due to the high interest in how Nevada voted. Next, Harmeet. Dylan from President Trump legal team says they are expecting to finalize the states needed to win the election. It was all a sting. Post 114677441 Cybersecurity Infrastructure CISA. Charlie Ward verified that blockchain technology and watermarks on official ballots was used in the election to confirm that Trump won by a landslide. With 80% of the votes, a sophisticated sting operation was going on right now with the intent to catch and expose the massive vote fraud of the Democrats. It was expected to end with arrests of the Biden crime family and other elites for their involvement in voter fraud and interfering with an election treasonous charge. Joe Biden had openly admitted on camera to a nationwide vote fraud, just as he also openly admitted to withholding $1 billion from Ukraine in order to get prosecutors fired who were looking into the Burisma scandals that involved kickbacks to his son Hunter. Various online sources were claiming to have behind-the-scenes access press releases that weren't yet available to the public. Rumor was that DHS, Department of Homeland Security, has secretly announced an election audit sting that claimed 80% of the ballots have failed ballot integrity checks. Friday, November the 6th, in anticipation of the Trump election win announcement, the Department of Defense was cleaning up certain security issues to make sure that the deep state Antifa anarchists could not start riots or set off any dirty radiological bombs in Washington, D.C. All right, you guys, I'd like to pray. Heavenly Father God, we pray. I'd like to stop this rain. As you can see, this so-called Zeta hurricane that we're in seems to be falling at nighttime. So I don't know if the rain has sense enough to know when to fall and when not to fall, but it looks like someone's behind it. Find out the agents behind it, God, and deal with them this night, right? All right, thank you to everyone. I want to put a hedge of protection around Donald Trump, the Army, the Navy, the military, and all that is good globally. Thank you to everyone for your support to us here. To support us here, you guys go to PayPal at themullings@gmail.com, at themullings@gmail.com. For those of you with the ticket citations, mortgages, foreclosures, and those of you with child support cases and student loans, auto loans, warrants, and for those of you having to see an agent doing business as parole officer, as well as those of you in for nonviolent offenses, you can email us for the GSA bonds to set off the matter, and now you know why, right? The GSA bonds were created on all of us. They've been profiting from them. We create the remedy. We get both the beginning of the profits and the end profits, people, while you do the GSA bonds. I've been saying that from the beginning because that's what the ancestors told us to do, right? Do the GSA bonds to set off everything. If they pretend like they hit their head, you send it off to the international authorities. You hear us mention here all day, every day, and they will remedy them in full for you, right? You can email us for that at themullings@gmail.com, as well as the herbology book, the Chain to the Sky book, Our Book, Time is the Master, Time is the Key, and a whole host of stuff you guys hear us talk about here, the Manufacturer Certificate of Origin, the Fraudulent Conveyance of Language Laws, the Do Not Detain Affidavit, the IRS Status Correction, etc., right? So you can email us for that. We do ask for donations for our time and our research. And yes, I want to thank Queen Tressie Rockamore. Tressie Rockamore, you rock. Honey, when you sent me that information about the Pazer family, you know, the Pazer Family Trust, I didn't know anything about the Pazer Family Trust, you guys. It was one of our queens here, Tressie Rockamore, that shared that story with me. Not once, I think it was twice or three times. It took me a good 2 or 3 times to read it to understand the fraudulent conveyance of language, man, to put the affidavit out. And I want to stop and thank Donald Trump, a huge thank you to you again. You know, faith without works is dead, you guys, and you call things into being as if though they were. So I call sunshine today, dear God in heaven, because 7 days of rain is too much for us here. So call things into being as if though they were. And I want to thank Trustee Rockamore for sharing that story with us about the Pazer Family Trust, who apparently had owned all the stuff. And Charlie Ward just explained to us, voice kicking, that they had actually gone over and taken over that, arrested that family trust and all the elites and stuff. So again, you guys subscribe to Noble L II and go back to Noble L, the original channel Noble L. Remember, we asked for $1 per video. If you want to send us more, we greatly appreciate it. Go to paypal@themullings@gmail.com. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will neither slumber nor sleep. He that keepeth thee, the Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. International authorities globally, go now and arrest all the agents involved in this stuff, and let's turn the page, right? Let's move on. Congratulations to President Trump again, who won fair and square. And apparently you guys now know that Barack Obama wasn't even president. That entire election was also rigged, right? And so they knew, Donald Trump and them knew from back then, all of them knew that they had put in these cyber securities and these watermarks on the voting ballots to catch the critters in this upcoming election, right? Because they were rigging them for, I guess, some time, right? So now we know the truth behind that lie. All right, you guys, like, share, subscribe. You guys have yourself a great day. Yeah, because I never knew of rain having sense. Did you guys ever know of rain having sense? How the hell does it rain at nighttime and not during the day? It sprinkles during the day, you guys. Pours at nighttime when you're sleeping. Like you can hear it now, right? Did you guys know that rain has sense? Rain knows when to start and rain knows when to stop? Doesn't that seem fishy to you guys? All right, you guys, like, share, subscribe. Have yourself a great day.